Well, hello everyone, welcome back to Wartburg, where today we are picking up straight where we left off from last time, which is on the other side of the river. So, as you can see here, I'm pretty much just getting on with tidying up the coastline, because obviously on the other side we have all of the promenade and stuff that runs all the way up the river, so I wanted to just like replicate that on this side, and I'm just cleaning up the terrain and stuff. So I will honestly say today's video, in my opinion, is great. I absolutely loved doing it, and the way it turned out was amazing. But anyway, so here you can see we've got quite a bit of flooding. So when I was placing these key walls down, I didn't really pay attention to how high the water level in the river is, and you can see it's just like constantly spilling over and flooding the area. So what I ended up resorting to doing, as you'll see in like a second, well, I'm doing it now, I raised up all of the promenade, so it kind of like is a bit of a sea defense, or a coastal defense. So it's kind of like them ones that they have in the Netherlands, you know, where there's like the massive kind of walls. They're not walls, but they're just kind of like mounds of mud that kind of like are all up against the coast, and they just stop it from overflowing. But anyway, yeah, that's what I'm doing here. So I'm just adding that so we don't flood as much. Further down the river towards like the mouth of it, it's nowhere near as bad, and it doesn't flood as much. I'm just seeing there's garbage issues. As you can see, they're getting resolved. I may need to add like a garbage collection system on the other side. But anyway, yeah, I'm just smoothing out the kind of lump I made on the other side. I'll tell you what. One thing I've noticed in City Skylines is I'm kind of like looking around at everything I did here, is that it looks way better while it's raining. Like everything just kind of looks more, I don't know if it's because it looks more realistic or if it's because it's shiny, but I feel like although the rain can be slightly annoying, it always looks way better. It just makes all the graphics look like a lot more crisp, if you know what I mean. Because City Skylines can sometimes get like kind of like with them, the way they do it, when you zoom out, all the stuff becomes like low poly resolutions and stuff. But yeah, it looks way better when it's raining. Anyway, so what I'm doing now is kind of making this octagonal shape that you can see right on the end, right against the coast. And that's because it is, spoilers, where I'm putting the Cathedral of Plenitude. So the kind of theme for this whole area I'm building is like futuristic. So obviously we've got kind of like the whole eco area where the Eden project's going to be. And I feel like the whole eco vibe also fits in with like futuristic stuff. So I thought we'll go with a bit more of a futuristic look for this area, more like proper shapes and stuff, geometry that kind of makes it like look a bit more modern and all that. So I got the Cathedral of Plenitude down, and I was kind of here. I'm just kind of messing around with different layouts that I wanted because I didn't actually know how I wanted it to go, and I ended up settling on this with this little plaza out the front of it. I think suits it quite nicely, because both of them are requirements for the Eden project, because obviously to get the Eden project you have to fill the requirements by building all the stuff. So as well as looking super cool, those two knock out some of that. Oh, and here we go. This, if you're wondering what I'm doing right now, I'm building a water feature. And if anyone has played City Skylines 1 and tried to mess around with water, you know that it's not great. It's not fun at all. And I did not know the kind of troubles I was putting myself through when I started building this. So I just thought, yeah, we'll build a little kind of lake, fill it with some water, and it'll look pretty cool. And at the end, that does happen. But there's a lot more steps in between that had to be carried out. So I'm kind of just flattening the area right now, because obviously you can see there's a lot of space, and this is kind of like what in my opinion, is the main attraction of the city. So at this point, obviously it doesn't look as good now because it's not fully filled out, but that's going to happen in a second. But this is kind of what all the if you came from afar and you were travelling to the city, I get the inkling that this is what you'd come for. So you can see, obviously, I'm wondering why no water's spawning. I didn't realise I put the water capacity in the bottom left to 0 while I'm placing this thing down. So it just wasn't producing any water. But anyway, I got it placed down. And at first, I thought, yeah, that looks dead cool. And then you can just see it's constantly spilling over the edge. It did it first then, and once it starts filling up, it just keeps spilling over the edge, because obviously I've put a water source in there and there's nowhere for the water to go. So it just flooded everywhere. And the solution I came up with, which actually I'm kind of happy that I had that problem, because I think this solution's quite cool, was to stick a canal that flows into the sea out of this kind of basin we've created. Now, I tried initially using the actual canals built into the game, but they're awful. They're just crap. So I decided to make my own canal, which looks a lot better than the game's. So the idea for this whole area is kind of like, where I've placed the water source is where there'll be like some big water pumps bringing water in from the sea, and then it just flows out of this canal out the other side. Now, I did kind of think, why don't I have two canals coming in either side so the water flows through and around the Cathedral of Plenitude, so it's kind of like surrounded by water. But there wasn't enough space, and I just thought it's a bit too much of a pain. And then here I'm just changing the, like, all of the seawall from the big wide one that we have down the river to the thinner one, because it looks more uniform, and it's what I used for the inside of the basin, because obviously the big ones wouldn't have enough room to fit in there. So this is me just kind of smoothing out this little canal that we have, making sure it all flows quite nicely and also looks good, because that's the most important part. So yeah, it's actually so cool, this Cathedral of Plenitude thing. It's like, it genuinely is my favourite building in the game. It's just amazing. And yeah, so all the water now flows quite nicely. It did take like a good 10 minutes to kind of get all the water to settle, and I had to add a second water source there so that it's like even on both sides, but there's a tiny bit of flooding, but it does settle down. You can see it's really wavy whilst it's all like getting used to its environment. So then connecting up the area. Now, I have actually gone through, I realised in the last episode when I started building this area, I added loads of like infrastructure for public transport, and I never actually set it up. So I actually do get around to that in this episode, but I really need to come up with a new way of like organising all of my public transport lines, because where every time I go onto the tab, I have like 40 bus routes, I have like 10 different tram loops, and they're all like, I usually like at the start of the city, back when it was tiny, before I actually started making videos on it, I used to colour code them. Now I started running out of colours, so then I've started using like letters and numbers, but then I'm just getting into like double digits, and it's becoming a bit inefficient, but there's kind of no other way to do it, so I don't really know what to do. But anyway, I've missed out on some of the stuff I was building in the time lapse, so I decided to make this whole kind of area like a park, kind of like a massive attraction place for tourists. So I don't actually know what that building, the rounded one at the bottom is, but on the right hand side you can see it's an opera house. It's kind of like the Sydney Opera House, but like a BTEC one. It's quite a bit smaller, but I just thought it fits the area quite nicely. All three of them buildings really do fit together super well, excuse me. And yeah, they're amazing. So I was trying to jump power over here by placing that park down, but it couldn't reach. So I just built a power line over the road, sunk it into the floor so you couldn't see it, which is kind of a cheaty way out, but I just wanted to keep the clean look of the area, so I resorted to that. But yeah, I think these three buildings really provide like the clean, futuristic, modern, minimalistic look, which people hate on a lot, but I actually think like minimalistic design is cool because it's futuristic and it's awesome and I really like it. But yeah, on that note, monorail fits into that kind of category of futuristic, minimalistic quite nicely. So I decided the best way to get people into the area was via monorail, because the monorail station fits the whole vibe as well, and then it's also just really easy to implement, because you can have it on top of the road, you can have it bend off, do its own thing. And here's me setting up the monorail lines, so you can see by just like the sheer number of public transport lines how crazy it actually is. Like later on when I start doing the trams and buses for the rest of the area to get it all sorted and running, you just see how stupid the amount of stuff we have. But to be fair, the city at this point is huge. It's kind of inevitable that has happened. So I'm just going around this area, cleaning it up, adding the paths so it no longer looks empty, and it's like a nice walkable, cool area to visit. So you may notice we are at 98,000 population right now. We do hit 100,000 people in this time lapse, which I'm super happy about. It's my first city that's ever kind of had like proper 100,000 population that I've sat through for this long and made it look to a certain standard throughout the entire city. And it's amazing. And we are actually making money now as well, because to be fair, I think at the end of this episode though, we end up spending like millions on some of the like special buildings and stuff, because I end up getting carried away with how many special buildings I've got placed down, and I place absolutely loads. But yeah, we're just pretty much finishing up this whole area, and there we go, it's done. So I'm just getting some like nice little shots of the area, like some nice little portrayals. I've just noticed I have like the FPS thing in the top right, GPU thing. I don't know whether that's like on my screen now and you guys can see it, or whether it was on my city skylines. Anyway, yeah, just getting some nice shots of the area. When the camera jumped all the way over to the right, I think it's because either my game lagged or I like tabbed out to pause my music while I was building for these shots. My game, like obviously because the city's huge now and I have a lot of mods on, and I have some like visual graphic mods on too, it's quite demanding. So every now and then, you've probably noticed it in one or two of the previous episodes, like my game will like lag and then the camera will just shoot off somewhere. Because I'll be trying to move the camera while the screen's frozen, and it'll be taking all them inputs and doing them, but I just can't see them. And then like after a second or two, I'll just be like looking at the sky or at some random place, and it's super annoying, but it's kind of like unavoidable when you start getting to like larger cities and stuff, because there's a lot of stuff being like done and run in the background that you're not looking at to keep the city alive. But anyway, we have jumped all the way to the other end of the island and started building some buildings. So this, which building is this? The servicing services offices, I think this is. Another requirement for the Eden project, like all the others. And I thought this was like on the top of this kind of retaining wall that we have before the road, because of all the crazy slopes of the mountain. I thought that was like the perfect place to have it. So now I've just got to hook up power to the area. But I love the way this building looks. I've never like used it much in any of my other cities when I've been building. So this was the first time I really like put some thought and effort into how it would look, the kind of environment it'd go into, and what it actually is. And it is super awesome. Like for such a small building, it's got such a detailed model. So I decided to extend the entire district to be this whole side of the island, because I thought rather than have that one tiny section that we did last episode of like green friendly modern looking buildings in like a district, why not have pretty much the whole island as it? And finally, it is unlocked, the Eden project. It costs 850,000, which is, I would assume, one of the most expensive buildings in the game. And obviously, it is the first of many. I do want to start getting all of these built, and there is some really awesome ones, to be honest. But the Eden project is the first one we finally made it to. So it's a result of constructing. What did we actually need? The Cathedral of Plenitude was one. The servicing services offices was another, and I think there was a couple more, but I don't remember where I put the rest. Oh yeah, the Statue of Industry is one, but that was kind of boring. So we're finally ready to get it placed down. So initially, I don't want to waste any time. I just want to get it down and see what it actually looks like. Now that is so cool. It is awesome. You can see there's the giant fan in the middle. All of these gardens on the side. Now what does it actually do? Raises land value and reduces pollution. Now that's cool for if you've got pollution turned on, but I have the pollution solution mod off, because although pollution's nice to have to take into account, which I still do, I don't completely like build industrial areas next to residential, I still take it into account, but the way it kills trees and makes the land go purple, it just kind of looks really crap and unrealistic. So I turn it off just for visual effects, but it would be really cool if you were building like a completely vanilla city. But yeah, it is so awesome looking, and I'm glad we actually have kind of built a whole area around this whole green aesthetic, because you can see now that these buildings have all started to level up, they really do pick up on that with the gardens on the roofs, the plants all down the wall and stuff. It does really kind of fit together nicely, and I think with this kind of futuristic looking, more modern area now, it all really works quite well together. So I just wanted to get the Eden project building place down, and now we can dedicate this pretty much. I'll probably cut it off up here and add some more residential up on the top of the hill, but then the bottom of the hill, I think we can just dedicate it all to the Eden project. So we have got cracking with the Eden project. Now, I just decided to make this little residential area up at the top here to kind of round the whole place out before we started building this entirely new bit. So once that was all zoned and built, I just fenced it off to keep it separate, because you'd want some privacy from this huge like tourist attraction thing right out the back of your house. So once the site was prepared, I got cracking straight away. So I wanted big roads in this area. I wanted it to feel like it was a big thing, because obviously it is a big thing, but if you just stick it in the middle of like your city surrounded by buildings, it's not going to have as huge an impact as you'd want it to be. So I decided to place it surrounded by big open space so that you can get a full view of the area. I didn't want any buildings whatsoever surrounding it. And obviously the Eden project's all about its environmental friendliness, and car parks are not the most environmentally friendly thing, but it's impossible to make a city without cars in this day and age, so I had to bite the bullet and get some parking placed in at the back. But the whole other area, all the area surrounding it, you can see is very green and treey and really nice nature around the area. And there's a cool little shot of the finished area. I tell you what, that Eden project thing is absolutely beautiful. So finally, here we go. We're actually getting the tram network that I built set up, because I kind of built it and just left the roads there and didn't actually get any trams on. But the problem is that I hadn't noticed by this point, there's no tram depot, so no trams can actually spawn on the line. It does get rectified quite quickly, but yeah, you can see the chaos with how many bus routes I have going around everywhere now. It's just crazy. You can see how many bus lines I have and having to navigate through them all and name them. I just started like colouring them in colours I think suit the area rather than colours I think make sense. But with this whole area, I added articulated buses because you know for a fact it's going to get busy with all the tourist attractions and residential. And when I do get some of the commercial place down, it's gonna get to be a busy area. So I just thought we'll get some articulated buses in early. Except here, I use a special kind of shuttle bus because that's just taking you right out the front of the Cathedral of Plenitude. But with all these other ones, maybe with this one I don't. Oh no, I think I did. I couldn't even see. But yeah, you can see even out in Augsburg, the old place, where there's like not too much going on. Still a stupid amount of bus lines. And yeah, so we're having a massive death wave in the city. You can see all of the dead bodies waiting for collection. So I just thought I'll place a couple more crematoriums down. And then finally we are getting a subway network down. So I want the subway network of this island to be completely independent of the other subway network, because that one's so busy it's unbelievable. So I don't want to put any more strain on it than there already is. So it's going to be its own separate thing, and now we're just sorting out some of the traffic laws and making sure everything's running smoothly so that when I unpause, you can see we've actually just hit 100,000 population as well with that area. I missed it tick over. I should have made a big deal about it, but oh dear. And you can see how many people are actually walking across the bridge to access this area. But yeah, the Eden project, it is such an awesome thing to look at. So now you can see we're getting cracking with a new area that's right next door to the Eden project, just on the other side of the bridge. And I thought, by this point in time, obviously City Skylines is like significantly scaled down from the size of a real city. Like if you implemented this city, like if you created the city in the real world, everything would be like, what, I don't know, 10 times bigger. Because obviously you can't simulate an entire city in a game, and this game's from like what, a dozen years ago, so it's pretty old. And it's obviously, it's like City Skylines 2 does it a bit better, but it's still not completely realistic of scale of actual cities. But by this point in time, you'd expect Wartburg to be a capital city. So I started getting capital city like buildings, like these administrative offices and stuff, where you'd have like the seat of the government, and I think this new area is probably the most fitting for it as well. Because yeah, if you imagined Wartburg as what it is now, because this city with 100,000 population is classed as like what they call it, a megalopolis, and really Blackpool's got 100,000 people in it, and it's barely a town. Like it's nowhere near a city. So you'd expect Wartburg in this stage in real life to be huge. Yeah, I feel like you can get what I'm saying. City Skylines doesn't have the correct scaling for cities, so it makes it smaller, so because it's just a game, so you can actually play it and it won't kill your computer, and it's more fun. So yeah, I thought by this point in time, the city's meant to be German, by the way. That's the whole kind of vibe. I kind of strayed away from that and just started building a city that I thought looked cool. But earlier on, it's meant to be quite a German city, so you'd assume it's overtaken Berlin in kind of size and importance and stuff, especially with how much industry there is in the area as well, and the port and everything. But yeah, you can see how crazy of a thunderstorm we're kind of having now. It actually ended up, I didn't notice it for a couple of seconds, but it cut off power to the entire city, because you can see there is the power line broke. But yeah, anyway, I was having a few troubles with this first tram depot. You can see it was saying it wasn't connected to the line, even though it was, so I just deleted it and rebuilt it, and then it fixed itself. And then I got the new tram depot back in here, so it can actually start putting trams onto the network. And the electricity broke again. That thunderstorm was crazy. I do need to build some like redundancy lines. But anyway, so with this new district that I'm building, you can see I'm starting to put in the final few like creator pack office buildings that I have left in the city. And I'm quite sad because I love these buildings, and I'm going to probably get a few more off the Steam Workshop, or like see if there's any more content creator packs available on the Steam store. But if not, it'll be quite a shame, because they're a great set of buildings, but I have used a lot of them. But the fact that you don't have to zone them and you can just place them means you can kind of like tailor your skyline to be what it is, and well, exactly how you want it to be. So in this area, I kind of wanted to add like a few more tourist attractions kind of in these weird spaces, but I just decided to zone it all as commercial and then let it fill in. And you can see all the trams running along the little line at the bottom there. But anyway, yeah, I zoned it as a new area in this kind of like thin bit called the Eden Strip. I just kind of wanted to break the area up a bit because it is quite a large place. And then I added a few bus stops, some tram stops to service the area, and now we're just kind of letting it fill out. But it's just kind of like its own little commercial shopping district right along the river, near all of the government buildings. So you'd get a lot of foot traffic here. So it's becoming this is becoming kind of the new focal point of the city. And now, once the bulk of the building has been done, we've got down all the important stuff that I wanted to build in the episode. It was just a matter of cleaning up the dead spaces. So I just started filling it with paths, making it quite a walkable area, and filling it out with trees as well. So you can see pedestrians, I don't know if you can see, barely, walking along that path and starting to access the promenades when I connected it all up. But I just think adding this kind of green space before the river rather than backing buildings right up onto it just makes the city feel a little bit more open and breathable. It's like somewhere you got to imagine when you're building cities and city skylines, would I like to live there? And if the answer's not yes, then you're not building the right things or not making the city the right way. So when you look at it now, you can see there's still loads of density and loads of buildings, but there's that green space that you can go and walk in, especially along the river, where you've got some nice views, you can get some fresh air, and just because like living in a city is great, and it's nice and busy, and you keep distracted with life and stuff, and you work your job and do whatever you do. But sometimes you need a break that you don't really get in a city, but you would get if you're like out in the countryside or in a small town. So adding them places into a city's downtown will just make it such a better place to live. So it's one thing I kind of try and keep in mind when I'm building. But yeah, I'm just kind of filling in the last few empty gaps with either paths and trees or commercial zone, because we have quite a big commercial demand. And with this being one of the bigger focal points of the city now, it's going to need a lot of commercial. But there we go, that's quite a nice overview of the city. So I think that's everything that was produced and built in today's episode. So I'm just going to take you around a couple of good cinematic shots that show off everything that I made, and then we will wrap up for today. Well, I will tell you what, I am absolutely over the moon with the way this has turned out. In my opinion, it looks absolutely glorious. Just the whole thing down here. I love kind of this. What shape would that be? 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't. That'd be an octagon, I think, wouldn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it's an octagon. So the octagonal kind of cut out down here with the cathedral of plenitude and the water feature that messed with my brain and pissed me off, but it's fine. The opera house, whatever that thing is, it's just, it all fits together so well with the futuristic, ecological, like amazing theme, and I'm just ecstatic with it. And just like even moving further back inland, obviously gonna thicken this area out a bit and get some more stuff built around the Eden Strip. But for now, it looks absolutely fantastic. So I hope you've enjoyed watching. I hope you enjoy looking at the city as much as I do and think it looks as amazing as I do. And I would like to think that you'd like and subscribe if you feel that way. And I will see you guys in the next episode.